This sounds, okay, talk?
Hello, good afternoon. It's July
that's perfect.
3rd.
Yeah, you can sit comfortably, I think, and it'll be fine.
Cool.
Yeah, no need to lean forward for a straight hour. Dude, you were fucking, in the early days, you were just sitting at the edge of the bed. That's
sitting at the edge of the bed.
And our episodes were like 2.5 hours long.
Leaning forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, what's up, everyone? This is Outdoor Cats that you're listening to from the Front Porch Studio. Today is Thursday, July 3rd, and I gotta tell you, Chris, I was procrastinating today because I'm still writing. And when you have another task that you can do that's not writing when you're writing, it seems like the best option, and you try really hard at it. And I think I've really perfected this outside studio.
This outside studio right now, I wish you could see it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the mics all rigged up. All the wiring is beautiful. Bill has his computer set up on a music stand. We are in peak recording form, lounging in Adirondack chairs. It is a setup. It was worth every minute of procrastination. And if you never get whatever Bill's writing, too bad. Yeah,
if you never get whatever I'm writing for this week, just know that I reached a state of perfection. I reached a nirvana, a porch studio nirvana, and I never left. I never left the porch ever. Stoop kid. I'm Worcester's stoop kid. Chris, before we start the show, I have a surprise for you, and I'm going to need you to put on these headphones for a second.
Hell yeah, I love surprises.
So, we were talking about how, the whole porch vibe.
Oh yeah, we got a fucking theremin out here too.
Oh yeah. So, the whole idea with the porch vibe in the summer is, we've had some very heavy episodes in the past. We've had some episodes that we have worked very hard on, going very deep into some unfamiliar territory, like the Charter Cities episode. We covered the homophobia, transphobia, Candy Merrill Carlsoning of City Hall in depth, and that was awful. That was just a lot of bad conversations, and of course we talk about the police department being the worst police department of all time, all the time. But out here on the porch, we take it a little easy.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a nice break for everyone involved to take her a little easy. So, I was listening to our theme song earlier today, and it's a great theme song, but what if there was a version that kind of was chilling on the porch and kind of took it easy?
Hell yeah, school's out for the summer.
All right, so I'm just gonna play this. I'm gonna play this right now in a way that I haven't tested, and if it works, it means that we can do call-in shows. Because I'm playing my phone directly into the interface in a way that means that people could call in. All right, it works, so we can do call-in shows. But all right, so here is our summer porch. Here's the new theme song for chilling in the Front Porch Studio.
That's all we do is drink all day. That's all we do is drink all day. That's all we do is drink all day. That's all we do is drink all day.
That's all we do.
Oh my God.
Just drink all day. So that's a hot mic moment, a recent hot mic moment from Joe Petty at a recent school committee meeting, and it's not some big scandal. It's not like he drinks all day. I should clarify that he was inviting our outgoing superintendent, Rachel Menares, up to whatever sort of summer vacation spot is where they drink all day at the summer vacation spot. So it's not that Joe Petty drinks all day every day usually, although he might. But what that clip connotes is drinking all day on vacation, which I 100% fully support.
Absolutely. But immediately makes me think two things. First thing, can you imagine Joe Petty talking? Can you imagine what his speech sounds like when he's hammered? Because we know what it sounds like when he's probably sober. The second thing it makes me think is you're Rachel Manjarres. You've put in your time and served dutifully in Worcester. You are on your way out. You're going back to Cali, as Biggie said, and Joe Petty invites you to his summer vacation place. I would love to know what the internal monologue in her head was at that moment.
Yeah, she's just like, fuck, get me out, get me out, get me out, get me out.
What am I busy doing all summer?
Yeah, right. I am so busy. Well, she's already back in California.
Yeah.
Because she had to start. I was trying to get like a sit down exit interview with her, but I kind of dropped the ball on that. Like, we made plans to meet up, and I wanted her to really give an honest assessment of the city after having lived and worked in it for a few years. So I think that would be really interesting. Rachel, on the off chance that you're listening, would love to do it by phone, but I think that there'd be some really valuable insights there if she were willing to cut it loose. Because I cannot even imagine being like a legitimately competent administrator who like commands, like actually deserves like $300,000 a year for like being that good. Like, you get to Worcester and you're like, what the hell is going on here?
What is this place?
Yeah, it must feel like the hills have eyes, dude.
Rachel, call in, because apparently we can do that now, or come to Porch Studio. You can drink all day with us, and I promise it will be more fun than doing it all day with Joe Petty.
We are not drinking all day, but what we are drinking is a couple nice little cups of espresso.
Yes, we are.
Which the Armenian guys outside of that one convenience store at the corner by Westside Barbecue that just drink espresso and rip butts all day.
Yeah.
They have it figured out. Like, that is actually the lifestyle I've come since owning an espresso machine. I have since come to learn that sipping little coffees and ripping butts is actually the lifestyle.
Yeah, are you talking about the guys at Big Bob's, the little liquor store?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're my favorite because they must be brothers or something. They look a lot alike. And one of them is almost always inside, at least once you like go in, and the other one is always just sitting outside drinking espresso and ripping butts. And they look so goddamn like the same that I know what it is. I've been going there for years, but I have this thing in my brain where I see the guy outside, and then I go in and I see the guy inside, and I'm like, how did he do that? But it's two guys. But yeah, no, they've got it figured out.
No,
those guys have it on lock.
I think I said Armenian. I meant Albanian.
Yeah. I think they're Albanian.
I think everyone knows what I mean. It's like that's like the front line of the Greek-Albanian Cold War in Worcester is that intersection.
Yes.
There's always there's that little patio there that's super nice, and there's always just like 4 or 5 dudes out there, living the Euro lifestyle. And I got to tell you, it's a better way to drink coffee. It's a better way to sit than slugging 24 ounces of coffee right away in the morning, and then you have like a 2-hour panic attack, and then you're tired by noon. It's just much better.
Yeah, when I was in Italy, I guess probably close to 10 years ago now, I was the dumb Americano who would drink espresso at all times of the day and night. They don't do that in Italy, but they should. But yeah, I did it, and I really enjoyed that lifestyle. Espresso, gelato, I was smoking cigs at the time. They have cigarette vending machines just out
So
in public
sick.
still, at least in Venice. And so, yeah, you can just like go get yourself a pack of smokes, sit in the town square.
You know what I had when I was in Amsterdam was espresso with a scoop of vanilla ice cream.
Oh, yeah, the affogato.
Affogato.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know how they arrived at the name for that, right?
I don't.
So, like, there was, like, an Italian guy working at the ice cream stand, and they were like, what's the name of that freaking thing with the ice cream in it? And he goes, I don't know. I forgot it.
Affogato.
That's, sure, that's maybe a little racist, but it's actually okay to be racist towards Italians.
I am more Italian than I am anything else, which is a fact that I...
Damn, you've kept that close to the vest.
I really tried. Now everybody knows. The secret's out. But yeah, I am more Italian than I am anything else. I tend to identify more with my French-Canadian, Quebecois sort of heritage. But as someone who is more Italian than anything else, it is cool and okay to make fun of Italy and Italians, and literally nothing seems like making fun of Italy or Italians more than like the actual things that they do. Like I was in Chicago last fall and I like walked by some place and there was like a monument to some Italian guy and his name was like, you know, Ernesto Pasta or something.
So sick.
The Italians have a whole series of warships called the Strombolis. Like, you know, come on. You're asking for it.
You're just asking for it. They're like the only criminal underworld to ever be so vain that they ruin their enterprise by just selling out to Hollywood and making too many movies about it.
Yeah, they fucking counterfeit olive oil. That's a thing the mafia does. You know, it's crazy, man.
That is actually, I've read a story, probably the same story you're referencing, about the sketchiness involved in the international olive oil trade, and most of the time you're just cooking with slightly gussied up vegetable oil.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's actually a full fix, but I will give everyone in the city a pro tip. For this reason, I only use Greek olive oil, and I buy it at Kalamos, the Greek market, right at like June and Chandler on June Street.
Yeah.
Those people are awesome. It's an amazing family. It's an amazing Worcester story because it is a guy and his sister-in-law who run it. The sister-in-law is Greek. The guy is Brazilian. So it is a very authentic Greek market run 50% by a Brazilian guy. But they are great. They have amazing olive oil. They will hook you up. They will tell you all about olive oils. You can get the big stuff in a can for cooking, and then you get a nice can of the really nice stuff to dress your salads with.
Oh yeah, a little finishing oil.
Highly recommend.
Yeah. I am myself quite partial. No offense to any Worcester Albanian listening, and I know we do have at least one Worcester Albanian listener, and I don't mean to offend you, but the Worcester Greeks are near and dear to my heart. I worked at a pizza place in Milford for about 7 years. That was owned by a Worcester Greek family. Shouts out to the Voyatsises. And really came to, just like they have such like tight support system, and like that's a community that really looks out for each other, man. Like they are tight knit, and I have a lot of respect for it.
Yeah, as I think about it, all of my best elderly Worcester neighbors have been Greek pretty much. And it's funny you mentioned the Voyatsises. I would assume that's the same family that Jim Voyatsis, rest in peace, to Jim, came from. He ran Coral Seafood for a while, was a really good chef. Many years ago, they had like the Mass Family Institute booked some like bigot shit there, and Jim didn't know what they were or what they were booking, and we announced a protest of the event outside, and Jim could have gone any number of ways about that. But what he did is in the middle of the winter. It's right around Christmas time, and what Jim did was said, I'm sorry this happened. If I had known, it never would have happened. Please do come and protest the event, and my staff will make sure that you have water and hot chocolate and things to keep you warm and little snacks, and they did. I think we were catered on the protest line better than the event was. So,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
shout out to them. R.I.P. Jim, really, really nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they're related, but when I was working there, and this is not okay. This is safe to share. This isn't really putting anyone on blast, but I was working there, and I was working with the son of the owner who was my age, and we worked every Sunday together for like 3 years, and we got pretty close. And he told me one time that it was like a situation where like the entire village was deciding where in America to move to. And the two choices were Worcester and a suburb outside of San Diego. And when the son learned that, he was so fucking mad. He's like, you chose to come here? And we could have been living in like sunny Southern California, and you chose this fucking place? I'm driving from Worcester to Milford every day, you know?
That is so funny.
Like Central Massachusetts or Southern California, it's not like Rachel Menarez tied all back, made the right decision.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, hey, watch this transition. Speaking of ethnic enclaves, we actually did prepare. We have things that we want to talk about. And one of the things that we want to talk about is the 4th of July coming up. And Worcester's long and troubled history with the 4th of July.
Long and troubled and cool and awesome history.
Extremely cool. Worcester has a 4th of July is a special time for Worcester. Baked into our DNA, it seems to be the moment, like almost like a purge type situation, but for whimsy.
Yeah,
right?
It's very true.
And what got us talking about this yesterday was the story of the guy who was throwing sticks of dynamite outside of his window.
Sticks of dynamite or some sort of incendiary explosive, dynamite or dynamite-like items.
Yeah, right. And we're going to have to read that story. We're going to have to read that story into the record because I haven't read it yet, so it'll be fresh for me and it'll be fun. And Chris promises there's some pretty delicious quotes in there from the neighbors about a guy who's throwing dynamite out of his window. So that's just 3 days. No, not 3 days ago. What the hell am I talking about? Yesterday, we had our most recent example. But this stuff goes back at least until the 1870s. In the amazing book, 8 Hours for What You Will, it's like a sort of a socialist history of Worcester. There's an entire chapter dedicated to the 4th of July, and I pulled out some good moments that I want to read. But just for now, to say that it's shenanigans have been happening on the 4th of July in the city since the 1800s. And apparently, Chris, you were telling me that in the 90s, in the 80s, 90s, it used to be quite the scene every year.
Yeah. I didn't get here until 2004, and 4th of July was then and still is pretty wild. Definitely, a lot of fireworks and amateur fireworks, and I have a little my very first 4th of July here story that I can tell in a minute, but Yeah, I've talked to a lot of old heads, a lot of Worcester lifers, and a thing that I think at least some people know about me is I'm a bit of a fire department buff. I listen to the scanner, and sometimes when there's a big fire, I go. No, I don't set them. And there was a period of time in the city 10, 12 years ago where we had an entire summer with a serial dumpster arsonist, actually 2. They were eventually caught, although I think one of them ran away and was like on the lam the last I knew. But apparently myself and a friend who will go unnamed, who were sort of the first to recognize this pattern and kind of try to like chase it down and get the city or the fire department to care before someone got killed. Apparently we were looked at. So I can tell you that I have apparently been at least low-key investigated for that, and I was cleared of all wrongdoing. But yeah, so
Talk about punished for caring.
I know, right? Talk about punished for caring. But yeah, there a lot of the old fire buffs will tell you that 4th of July, especially when it fell on like a weekend or a time like this where it's a Friday, kind of extending the weekend, but really every year was arsonist heaven. There would be sometimes 10, 15 full-on working house fires in the city over the course of that day, and especially that night. Guys would go set up at the Dunkies down in Maine South and just sit there with the scanners and just wait for the calls to start rolling in and go start chasing them. People would come in from out of the city because of how many fires there were here. There's also lots of stories about people just, kind of piling sofas and a bunch of shit into the middle of like their neighborhood streets and lighting those on fire.
Just a bonfire, trash
just big bonfires, which I think come up in 8 hours actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we have a really long storied history of that here. And then we should talk about it. But I'll just say my first it's a great story time episode, I guess.
Yeah, story time. Tell the story. I want to hear the story.
My first 4th of July here. So I moved here in 2004. I moved here over Memorial Day weekend, and about a week or so before 4th of July, my friend who I was living with at the time, and I, neither of us had a car. We got up early-ish one Sunday morning, and we decided to walk from where we lived down by Clark to the Worcester Flea Market, which, if folks never experienced it, man, the Worcester Flea Market was an experience. It was awesome. It was everything you could possibly imagine that you might need, things you didn't realize you ever needed. It was everything that fell off the back of a train in Worcester. That you could buy for real cheap, toiletries, like all kinds of stuff, bootleg DVDs, foreign region code movies, and the $15 DVD player that also fell off the back of a train that you could watch them on. I had a snake at the time. You could actually buy live mice there. It was one of the reasons I would go. But yeah, so my friend and I decided to walk down there. And we got almost all the way there, and it's about noon on a Sunday, and my friend said, we're walking by the Green Isle pub, which no longer exists, but used to be down on Millbury Street, on the hairy end of Millbury Street, I would say, the still hairy end, yeah. But it was a lot hairier then. And my friend was like, we're almost there, let's stop into this bar, have a beer, and celebrate. And I was like, all right. I'm feeling like a little guilty. It's, not that it matters to me very much, but it's the Lord's Day. It's barely the PM hours. And we walk into this bar, and I swear to you, it was like everyone in this bar had been there since the night before and never left. Like everyone was 3 o'clock in the morning shit-faced. Everyone. And there's like grandmas like hitting on us and stuff. And it was wild. And this guy comes up and he's like, hey, do you want to buy some fireworks? And I was like, maybe. And he's like, all right, yeah. I got these packages, they start at like $300 or $400. And I was like, whoa, I have like $10. Like I do not have hundreds of dollars like in my life to my name right now. So I don't think I can buy any of your fireworks. But he just really wanted to show me still anyway. So he pulls out a stack of Polaroid pictures. That's his sale. Like that's his his catalog. Is this stack of Polaroids of these like little fireworks collections that you can buy. But they're not little. They're full on like professional mortar ass fireworks. And yeah, that's how I found out how people apparently get all these crazy fireworks here. There is a whole cottage industry of people who go to south of the border or wherever they go and buy a bunch of this shit and then bring it back and sell it to people.
They bundle it up
and sell it to people at the Green Island pub or wherever. So yeah, that's my fireworks story.
Yeah.
About the time that someone tried to sell me like a small battalion's worth of explosives.
Those guys must have been busting ass in 2020.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was crazy.
The banner year.
That was crazy. Fireworks every single night. It became an issue. People were throwing around, public safety, public health. We need to crack down on these fireworks. And then Polar Park gets built, and Polar Park does 10 times the amount of fireworks that the amateurs of 2020 were lighting off every single week, and it's fine.
Yep. There will be fireworks there tonight. There will be fireworks there tomorrow night.
Oh my God, dude, that's like, it's excessive. I know that you are a fan of going to see the baseball game, and I don't begrudge you for it. I went to see a baseball game with you one time. It was a blast. But the fireworks are like a little bit too much.
I don't stay for the fireworks. If I feel like it, I walk home, which is a short walk for me.
Dude, no one stays for the fireworks.
No, I mean, like, it seems like some people do, but if you've ever stayed for the fireworks, the only time I've ever been in the park for the fireworks was a time when we left the game. We went to Bay State Brewing to have a beer and some dinner, and Erin realized that she had forgotten her phone at the park. And then she like put up the whoops, I forgot my phone thing. Someone called my number to tell me that they had found her phone. So we had to go back into the park during the fireworks. And it is intense. Like, Polar Park is basically a big, valley surrounded by like concrete mostly. Yeah. And when there's things exploding in there, it's loud. Right. I don't really enjoy that. So if I watch the fireworks at all, I go up to the roof of our parking garage and I just watch them from there, where it's not blasting my ears out. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's too much, man. And like, I don't know how people that live in the Cove deal with them going off, 200 feet outside of their window. I don't think I would love that. But
yeah, I know. I was just thinking about that. Like, if anybody does live in the Cove, or if that's just like a lost leader to raise the rents everywhere else. But yeah, dude, imagine like you pay top dollar to have this
$3,000 a month and up.
Yeah, to have this like catered urban living experience. It all sounds so nice on paper. You got your view of everything going down, all the little ants down there in Polar Park, all the peasants enjoying their afternoon, and then come to realize you're locked into this lease for a year, and at 10:30 every single Friday night you're basically like in Fallujah. It's crazy
for a solid half hour. And also a thing people early on used to always ask me, oh, when are the fireworks? They'd say, when the game's over. They'd say, well, when's that? And it's like, well, it's baseball. The game ends when the game ends. Right. So yeah, you don't even, unless you're like watching out to see, like, you don't even, it could be at 8:30, it could be at 10:45. Yeah. Could go extra innings. It could be 11. It's just going to happen when it happens.
Yeah. I mean, if you are listening to this and you are a resident, particularly of Green Island, or any of the places around there, and you have some things to say about the fireworks, get in touch with me. I think it might be time to revisit that. Like, imagine owning a dog that's scared of fireworks, and you live like across the street?
Yeah, I don't have to imagine. Luckily, my apartment faces in such a way that we just get the echo kind of, so it's not that loud for us.
Yeah.
But I have some friends who live on the other side of my building, directly facing the park, and they have a dog who is afraid of fireworks, and it's a fucking nightmare. And there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah. Well, it used to be that fireworks were a once a year sort of thing in Worcester. And it used to be, and still is for the most part, with the exception of Polar Park, generally the terrain of people we might call hooligans, we might call street toughs, we might call your urban working poor. And this has been the case in Worcester for a long, long time, going back to the 1870s at least. I have a few snippets from 8 Hours for What We Will by Roy Rosenzweig to support the claim, and these are going to be really fun to read out loud. I'm just going to sort of open these up at random. They're all from, I think it's chapter 2 or 3 of the book. And I will make sure that I put this in the show description. 8 Hours for What We Will is sort of a hard book to find, but because we did the book club of it last year, in the process of doing that, we scanned every chapter, and every chapter is in a Google Drive folder that's public, so anybody who wants to read it can read it that way. Easily. So I should definitely link that, because that's a valuable resource.
Yes, that would be, I think that's a really good link to put, and I cannot recommend enough, if you're going to read an academic nonfiction text, like, man, this is a really, really good one to read, and it is an incredible look at 50 years of peak industrial Worcester, and it's specifically written about Worcester. You will learn things about this city that you definitely didn't know. I did, and it's a really cool book.
So this is from a subsection of the 4th of July chapter, which is generally about the differences between the way the elite and the factory workers and the factory owners, let's say, celebrated their 4th. The factory owners would waltz away to Mount Wachusett and have a nice mountain villa, retreat from the summer heat of the city, and they would have these big fancy parties, and that would leave the city to be sort of taken over by the ruffians. So this is Chasing the Greased Pig, the Boisterous 4th. In 1874, the Worcester Daily Press called July 4th the, quote, most abused as well as the most celebrated day of the year. Although it conceded that some devoted the day to what it termed legitimate recreation, it, meaning the paper, decried the large number of presumably working-class Worcesterites who had, quote, desecrated Independence Day with, quote, the sound of the fish horn. I still have no idea what that is.
Oh, I know.
The fish horn. The chasing of shaved and lubricated pigs. Which, folks, we gotta bring it back.
We gotta bring it back.
We gotta make Worcester great again. We have to get some pigs. We gotta shave them. We gotta lube them up. we gotta lube up these pigs. The climbing of greased poles, in various sack and wheelbarrow races. My God. Desecration here, sack and wheelbarrow races. Most disgraceful, that's a quote, according to the paper, was that, quote, one of the most prominent features of an American holiday is the marked tendency of so many persons to get gloriously drunk. Rosenzweig says here, the newspaper has provided only sketchy descriptions of these popular and unstructured celebrations, but they devoted a good deal of attention to what they saw as their inevitable outcome, fights and drunkenness. almost ritualistically, the local press intoned against those who spent the 4th partaking, quote, recklessly of stimulants. I love, personally, I just love to intone against those who spend the 4th partaking recklessly of stimulants. Filling up with, quote, the liquid disturbance. People talk so fucking weird back then.
Oh, I know. Oh, it sounds so, what a weekend.
Yeah, indulging in brutish celebration and joining in, quote, rum rows. Such comments reflected pro-temperance and anti-immigrant biases, but the newspaper's perception of the centrality of drinking to July 4th celebrations do find objective confirmation in the court and police records, and that's when he goes on to break down how, like, all of the arrests were basically Irish idiots who got way too drunk on the 4th, and there would just be, like, mass arrests of Irish people every 4th of July. But my God, you know, that feeling when you and the boys partake recklessly of stimulants, fill up with the liquid disturbance, and then do brutish celebration and join in on the rum rows, dude. That's a weekend.
Yeah, and so much grease, greased pigs, greased poles.
Yeah, and amid all of that, there's just a slippery pig running around, and you got to try to catch it. I like the idea of it not being like a running with the bulls situation, but like that. Like, there's no, it's complete anarchy vis-a-vis the pig. Like, the pig is just set loose in general, and people are partying all over the city. And it's like, if the pig comes by you have to chase it.
Yeah, like, I'm thinking, if we lived in the city that we could still have, we could be sitting here right now, and a shaved, greased pig could come trotting up this street, and we'd have to take a huge swig of rum and go fucking try to catch it.
We'd just be like, oh, there's the pig!
There's the pig, dude!
All right, we'll be right back. And, like, I imagine that the guy who actually catches the pig, like, that guy is, like, he's, like, a local hero for about a week, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's easy to catch a pig that's shaved and greased up.
It's not easy to catch a pig that's not shaved and greased up. I have had to try to catch a pig before.
Really?
Yeah, I had a pig farmer cousin, they're pretty wily and smart, and I can't imagine them greased. I also, like, if you catch the pig, do you get to, like, eat it?
Yeah, what do you do with the pig?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you have to, like, see if the pig will, like, drink a beer.
That would be cool too.
And if the pig, it's like a Groundhog Day situation where if, like, the pig drinks the beer, it's going to be a very good year for you. Anyway, let's look at what other side did I pull out. Quote, there was always one place to discharge it, meaning the cannon, first. One of the participants recalled for a newspaper reporter in 1916. That place was in front of Ben Booth's house. Ben was the superintendent of the Washburn shops, and we always gave him the first salute. So this is about detailing a group of kids aged 18 to 28 who had a cannon they would roll around the, like, streets of Worcester and just at random fire it off. And their first stop was always apparently at Ben Booth's house, because Ben Booth, that guy's a dick. Of course we're shooting the cannon off. So they would do this at night too, like this is like 4 a.m. So after they awakened the mill superintendent, the group, equipped with tin horns, 12-inch firecrackers, shotguns, and powder pistols, marched off to fire the cannon, steal fruit, or remove carriage wheels from the property of lesser dignitaries. So they would just go around to rich people's houses and steal the carriage wheels off of their carriages. Although subsequent stops lacked the obvious significance of the first encounter, blah, 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 blah. The victims of these pranks shared some revealing characteristics. Most were property owners in a community where few owned property. So like imagine if this happened in the post 9/11 era, I mean like they would just nuke Worcester. But like imagine like a bunch of kids from like Green Island or Great Brook Valley or whatever went into the exclusion zone, the single family part of Worcester, and they just like stole shit from people's houses, fired off cannons, and found their manager's house and targeted them first.
Yeah, I just did a quick bit of Googling too, because I wanted to see what was the Washburn factory, and it looks like it was Washburn and Moen was what is now referred to as the Northworks building.
Yeah.
So yeah, right there, right in the thick of things.
Right. Where's the Northworks?
Northworks is on Grove Street. It's right next to Ralph's.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Where I don't know, what's the burger place? The Fix.
Yeah. That row of, you can get on top of that.
No.
You can. In somewhere in the parking lot expanse between the back of the Fix and Ralph's, there is a way to get. That's all I'll say. There is a way, and it's pretty cool.
That is extremely dangerous information for me to have. But yeah, continue. I'm definitely not going to do that.
In the same vein of what makes that so dangerous to know, I'm going on here. This is the drunkenness and the rowdiness of July 4th crowds can be interpreted as a rejection of or release from the discipline and orderliness that Worcester workers faced on the job, but it is often difficult to assign it a more precise meaning. However, the gaiety and abandon of at least some July 4th crowds apparently reflected not just a holiday rejection of the... Oh, wait. Oh, that was just... I didn't grab enough of that screenshot to finish it.
Whoops.
It got cut off at the bottom. Ugh. Oh, here we go. The use of public streets as a venue for Independence Day celebrating was particularly common on the night before the 4th. Increasingly, which is going to be tonight, actually, so keep that in mind. Increasingly, in the late 19th century, crowds gathered both downtown and in working-class neighborhoods for an all-night carnival of noise-making and fireworks. We used to be a proper country.
We used to be a proper country. We at least used to be a proper city.
Despite repeated efforts by the police to keep the city quiet until 4 a.m. on the 4th, crowds assembled as early as 8 p.m. the previous night to bang drums, blow tin horns, shoot powder pistols, and set off cannon crackers and torpedoes. Torpedoes! Another insane thing to just drop in there with limited context. Like, what? I cannot picture the torpedo. But what? Like a torpedo connotes an underwater explosive device. So like, are they going to Lake Park and like trying to torpedo people in canoes? I don't know. So the point that Rosenzweig's trying to make, just to add a little bit of substance to this podcast episode, is that like the way that they were riding these factory workers made it so July 4th was the only day where it was nice out and people had the day off, basically. It was Christmas off, you had Thanksgiving off, but July 4th is the day you have off where it's actually nice out. So it naturally led to like a once a year, like just unbuttoning of everything, because it's the one night of the year that everyone could actually party. So if you're thinking like, why don't we still do all this crazy stuff? That probably has something to do with it. We're not getting ridden like fucking cattle any longer in the same way. So
yeah, at least not all in the same like uniform experience.
Right,
way.
Right.
Like everybody fucking worked in a factory.
Yes.
Probably everyone in your neighborhood worked at the same factory.
Right. So imagine your entire neighborhood is all on the same work schedule and all has one day off during the summer. Like, that's going to be a crazy day. Like, people are going to look forward to that day all year, and they're going to talk about it all year afterwards, right? I mean, like, there's no way around that.
Yeah, one of the things that the book gets into also is, I mean, in a larger way, it gets into this dynamic quite a bit, but the very tense and antagonistic dynamic between the ownership class and the working class, including, the factory owners and the factory workers, and how much the factory owner, the landed factory gentry class, tried to stop this, not just using the law and the police, but also trying some incentive-based programs, like let's take all of our workers out of the city to someplace that there are no greased pigs, or torpedoes, or handles of rum everywhere, and let's try to have them have a civilized holiday. And people just outright rejected it over and over again. They were like, nah, fuck you. This is our day. We're going to get drunk and blow things up. Yeah,
we're going to do what we want. It was particularly like the Irish and the French Canadian, but one of the things that they also did was they brought out their like model immigrant group to shame the other immigrant groups for being so wild. Like the Swedes were like temperance people that were respectable. So they were like, you got to be more like these people. So they just started just promoting more Swedes into management jobs in factories to like try to coax better behavior out of the other immigrant groups. And lo and behold, what do you know? The Swedes start a Ku Klux Klan chapter in Worcester, famously in the 1920s.
Yeah.
And they get the shit beaten out of them by Irish and Italian immigrants.
Yeah, it's very interesting, including the fact that we are right now where we are sitting in ground zero of one of the Swedish enclaves. A lot of the Swedes worked right across the street at the fuck is this huge place called?
St. Gobain.
Yeah, it was not St. Gobain at the time, but it was another huge.
Norton, maybe?
I think it was Norton.
Yeah.
That they were one of the huge importers of Swedes. I have these really cool like city directory books that go back. Most of the ones I have are like the late 1800s, early 1900s. I got them from the Rotman owner guy through an auction. But one of the things that's super cool that I've found in them that I'd heard about before is advertisements for Swedish families who were here in the city who had like gotten that management job or whatever, had a 3-decker or had a house with an extra room to let. And they would literally like import Swedes fresh off the boat and move them in with a Swedish family, and they would pay room and board, but like, the Swedish mom would like make their meals and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah. The you know what else is interesting? I just learned it recently is along Burncoat Street in this neighborhood, the side of the street with like the nicer houses. Although the streets along Burncoat on both sides are nice, but like if you're going north on Burncoat Street on the right side, there are these like concrete, like almost fortress looking features on the entrance to the side streets, and that is a relic from the factory. It was a planned neighborhood for the factory, and that was the management side. And going down the hill toward the factory was all the worker housing. So they literally built in a wall.
They built in a wall and set it up in such a way that they could literally look down on their workers from home.
And that wall sort of remains to this day in the fact that the hill going up to it is all triple-deckers and multifamily zoned, and then on the other side of it, it is very intensely single-family zoned.
That's super interesting. It is a very weird feature of the neighborhood that I have not seen in any other neighborhood in the city, and I had no idea why it was there.
Yeah. Brian O'Donnell told me that. That's a Burncoat kid through and through, so he would know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Second bit of historical 4th of July shit that I wanted to hit on was a post on the Worcester subreddit 20 hours ago, it looks like. So, Wednesday. With a story that seems like the kind of story that people would know about, but I asked a couple people who know these sort of Worcester stories, and no one seems to know anything about this story. I don't know anything about this story. Before I read it, I don't know anything about this. And Chris, you don't seem to know anything either.
Nope,
and so
it's news to me.
If we have a listener who knows how this story ends, we'll finish it the next episode. Get in touch with us. Leave a comment. Reach out, DMs, whatever. But let's work this. So this is a New York Tribune article from October 14th of 1906. The subhead is Mortar, which came from wreck. And it's a very weird, grainy picture of a historic Old English mortar. Caption, now in the possession of Frederick Midgley at Worcester, Mass. Frederick Midgley is a great name for a guy who in 1906 has come to possess an Old English mortar. So, Frederick Midgley of 357 Millbury Avenue, Worcester, Mass. hopes to have the permission of the civic authorities on next 4th of July to discharge an Old English mortar that figured in the Revolutionary War, and which was on the frigate Hussar, a supply and pay ship that sunk in the East River at Hell Gate in 1780. While on her way to, I hate it when people, can I just pause and say that, like, why do we call boats hers? Why do we use the female pronouns for boats?
It's a good question.
Talk about pronouns. That is an inanimate object. That is not a lady. The boats aren't ladies. I know I'm going to be, come under attack from the woke mafia for saying this, but boats are not ladies. I hate that. Her. No, it's a goddamn boat. It's wood and metal. While on her way to New York to pay off the troops of King George, the Hussar had on board at the time 54 American prisoners. The old implement of war lies in the rear of Mr. Midgley's home. Still has not explained how this guy got the mortar around. Its weight, indicated in Old English figures, is 844 pounds.
Oh, Jesus.
And this Frederick Midgley of Worcester is like, yeah, I got it in the back room.
Yeah, I got it in the backyard. I love that Mr. Midgley has this. We don't know how he has it, but he has a nearly half-ton explosive
of Revolutionary War explosives in his house.
And he wants to set it off on the 4th of July, but he's going to go through the proper channels.
Yeah, he's going to ask the civic authorities. It's like, I think that probably if I was the reporter writing the story, I'd be like, I don't know who you ask. I'll just write the civic authorities. I don't know. Like, is that a city council decision? I don't think this really is an ordinance for permission to light off a mortar. But anyway, now the New York Tribune explains how this Mr. Midgley came to possess in 844, like 844, like it's bigger than a man. It has to be. Like,
oh yeah,
840. That's like, it's like the size of an oil drum.
Yeah, I mean, like 844 pounds of fucking lead would be physically large.
How did he get it into his house? But anyway, the relic came into the possession of Mr. Midgley through his wife's father, Leroy Bancroft of Worcester, Mass., who, years ago, was engaged in exploiting a patent submarine armor. I don't know what that means, but this might be the same Bancroft that financed the construction of Bancroft Tower, which would make sense because, like, it's, the kind of guy. It's like, damn, dude, these rich guys back then, they had some free ass time, and they did whimsical things with them. Oh, I'm just going to build a little castle on top of the hill. Oh, I'm just going to engage in exploiting a patent submarine armor. I don't even know what that means. He was instrumental in recovering some of the bones of American prisoners who perished when the frigate Hussar went down. He also secured many articles and munitions of war, such as cannonballs and guns, from the bottom of the East River. The collection of relics including the mortar, was shown all over Massachusetts and New York. The Hussar carried about $1.8 million in 1906 currency at the time that it sunk. In 1949, they tried to get this. That's all we have. This is all we have. We don't have a resolution to the story. We don't know what Frederick Midgley did with his 844-pound mortar that he had in his house. Ladies, you're on a first date with a guy, and it's going well, and he's like, you want to go back to my place? And you're like, yeah, actually, I kind of do. Yeah, that sounds nice. You get there, and you're like, what's that? And he goes, oh, that's just my 844-pound historic Old English mortar that I got from the bottom of the East River. Are you staying or are you going? Is that a deal breaker or
a deal maker?
Or a deal maker, And that's pretty good. I feel like you're going to get a lot of different answers from different Worcester folk on that.
Yeah. Please write in and
sound off in the comments. Deal maker or deal breaker?
Also, billionaires, I don't think you should exist. If you want to convince me otherwise, the first best way to do it is to maybe relieve the immiseration of the vast majority of the world who are not billionaires. However, if you don't want to do that, do old-timey rich people shit.
Yeah.
Build fucking weird stone towers. Go find explosives in the East River and then bring them back to your house and try to get the city to let you blow them up on the 4th of July. Shit. Fucking be a Higgins and build a weird fucking steel building because you're a steel magnate, and then amass the largest collection of armor and armaments in the Western Hemisphere and put it on display there.
Yeah.
Do cool shit like that.
Yeah, I know. It's so lame, dude.
Rich people now are so fucking boring.
Yeah, it is really. It is a strange culture of vanity and insecurity, whereas their predecessors from 100 years ago were content to, like, just indulge the nerdiest passions that they have. And, they shouldn't have had that much money in either circumstance, but, like, people just go bald. You don't have to figure that out. Like, please spend your ill-gotten gains, like, in another way. You don't have to be, like Elon, it's something that I'm going to keep thinking about for the rest of my life, probably, but the fact that Elon Musk cheats in order to have a high ranking in whatever that video game is.
Yeah.
Like, he pays some guy to play video games for him.
It's a Diablo. I know it's one of the ones he plays. Yeah.
It is. That is so pathetic. But I guess, like, that's kind of cool because, like, it means that the billionaires cannot buy their way out of being insecure.
Yes.
Right. And that's probably like a modern affliction that your Frederick Midgleys and Leroy Bancrofts, no one figured out how to make them feel insecure because they owned the world and they knew it. But, but now...
And they had 844-pound explosives.
Right. Now, we just have every billionaire has a gnawing hole in the center of his heart where he feels inadequate and insecure, which is like, I don't wish that on anybody, but if it's going to happen to a billionaire, it's kind of the best person for it to happen to.
It's very true.
So anyway, thus concludes my reading series of archaic Worcester 4th of July celebrations. Oh shit, are we
I think we should be okay. I think I just need to tighten this. Yeah, it'll be fine. We're almost done.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. So I probably could, but I won't. And it'd be much more fun if somebody was like, I know exactly what happened, and they want to share the answer with us. But we do need to figure out what happened to Midgley's mortar.
Also, Bill, I just want to validate a knee-jerk, potentially problematic to some people opinion that you had, which is about the feminizing of maritime vessels. And I just want to say that I looked it up because I don't know Spanish, but Spanish has masculine and feminine nouns. And boat in Spanish is el barco, which is a masculine noun. So the Spanish seem to agree with you.
Well, in the Spanish, pretty much were the first boat guys.
Yeah.
Well, now that's Portuguese erasure.
That's true.
But the Spanish were the first people to use boats in the truly evil way that boats would come to be used for centuries. The Portuguese were more the explorer types. The Spanish used boats to set up the first and third world. So that's kind of worse than their identity politics around boats being correct.
Yes, that is probably true. But, you can't win them all. Since we're just freewheeling all over the place and probably about to wrap in a few, and we've been talking about weird, dorky books that we like, this is my time to tell everyone about a book I read maybe 15 years ago that I still think about all the time. And it is a book called Cod. And it is just about cod.
I love me some cod.
The codfish in world history. The relevant point here, the salient point, would be that cod was the fuel, the human fuel, of basically all of the colonial world conquests by boats. The cod's ability to be salted and preserved was how they were able, and its prevalence in the oceans around many parts of the world was what fueled the conquests of the colonial powers. And then also, Massachusetts has a really interesting history with the cod. Obviously, we have an entire place called Cape Cod. But also, do you know about the sacred cod?
The sacred cod is in the State House?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It hangs prominently in the State House, overseeing all of the legislative business of Massachusetts for hundreds of years now. There is a wooden cod called the sacred cod. And also there is a ceremonial cod that, like a figure of a cod, that is part of the transition ceremonies for the governor. There are things that the outgoing governor leaves for the incoming governor, and one of them is a cod.
Like a fish?
Like the figurine of the fish.
Oh, a figurine. Okay. I was picturing like a supermarket whole fish.
That would be really cool. I mean, yeah, if you're gonna give me a cod, give me a real one.
Yeah, right. That's a little cursed. The mind could take this in a dark direction. Like imagine there's some sort of like Eyes Wide Shut style cod ceremony to decide
Absolutely
which of the people who actually make decisions is going to go to jail that year.
Yes.
Is it going to be Will Gavin or Ron Marino, whatever his name is?
Yep.
That is crazy how many of our speakers of the House have gone to jail in Massachusetts.
I always tell people, if you want to know where the power lies in a place, look at whose office goes to jail the most for corruption, and you will realize that in Connecticut it is apparently the governor, but in Massachusetts it is definitely the Speaker of the House.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other topic. But we should stop putting them in jail. We should start giving them the Ben Booth treatment, where
Yes.
we just show up to their house and bomb it. Throw sticks of dynamite.
Shoot off a cannon.
Yeah, like with a, in a video game for parody purposes, and also not with real munitions. I do realize I just said what I just thought about what I just said, and not in the context of joking around. That could be taken a certain way. I don't think that we should bomb anybody's house, but lighting off blank rounds with a cannon in the tradition of 1870s ruffians in Worcester, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, can rattle the windows.
Yeah. So bring it all back. Just gonna read a couple lines of this story from the dynamite thrower yesterday. Because it's the long lineage of explosives in the 4th of July in Worcester comes home perfectly manifest in this one very bizarre case. I'm not going to read the guy's name, because I just think it's shitty that we do this for petty crimes in general. But several officers converged on the area where this guy was chucking dynamite out of his window, and they heard the loud explosives, and that was at 11:30 a.m. on Wednesday.
Can't throw dynamite all day if you don't start in the morning.
According to the statement, facts written by officer, blah, 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 blah. This is boring. I need to get to these neighbor quotes. So, according to a witness, the guy permanently damaged the wooden fence around the property by igniting projectile incendiary devices on it. The report states, oh no, permanently damaged the wooden fence around the property. God. This is really serious stuff. This is. I'm glad that the police were all on top of this, because, jeez, I don't know who is going to fix that fence. The fire department was on scene, and the state police bomb squad was summoned, of course. Police blocked public access to the area. Officers entered and discovered several large explosive sticks. I fucking hate the Telegram, dude. Several large explosive sticks. That's definitely exactly how it's written in the police press release.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure verbatim.
Yeah. Incendiary explosive devices. Oh, here we go. Whatever. Arraigned in court, whatever. Residents in the neighborhood were, quote, frantically screaming and, quote, extremely frightened due to the explosions. In one instance, an elderly person fell in the street due to the fear and the, quote, shock, and couldn't get up. A Bullet, who is a neighbor, said. Bullet also said the guy was uncooperative with police. When police talked to the man in the doorway of his apartment, he said he had no knowledge of the loud explosions. It's just so cool. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
Inside, police could clearly see 2 sticks of what appeared to be dynamite and 2 pegs on the floor with similar explosives sticking out. I don't know what you're talking about.
Some other guy here lives here. He got those. He found them in the East River.
Yeah, so what? I got dynamite on my floor. It's not me. I don't know what you're talking about. Neighbor Jocelyn Rivera was watching the commotion from the porch across the street. Said she heard the explosions. Around 11:30 a.m., I heard a big, loud boom. I looked out the window and I saw a cloud of smoke. And I was like, okay, that's weird. It was too early for fireworks. And then another one went off right over there. She was pointing to a lawn. And it just went boom. And I saw a flash. And then I saw the smoke. That's awesome. What a quote.
I was slightly misremembering it, but I just really like the, Huh, that's weird. Yeah, a little early for fireworks.
Yeah, right. It just went boom.
It do be doing that.
Yeah. That's all. That's all that's good from that. But the guy was released on personal recognizance, ordered to stay away from alcohol, and there's another pretrial hearing, whatever, that guy just, you got to kind of respect it. He just had some dynamite and wanted to use it. Didn't seem like anybody got hurt. And really, it's a little weirder than lighting fireworks off, but it's not all that more disruptive. And the major cop brain included, in including the property destruction damage to the fence in the property, is pretty funny.
Yeah,
wow, we need to find some way to make this look like it's a crime,
Yeah. Also, the strange detail of an elderly person falling down because they were scared.
Yeah,
that's very weird, and I don't know. It sounds kind of made up. I don't know that it is. Could be completely true.
I mean, the way that it's written too, you can't see it. I mean, you can't when I read it, but there's like quotes around. Like this is a guy talking about another person, an elderly person who allegedly fell in the street. So this is the reporter hearing it third hand.
Yeah.
And it is a 2 sentences constructed by just like pull quotes of 2-word phrases. So it's very strange. Residents in the neighborhood were, quote, frantically screaming and, quote, extremely frightened due to the explosions. In one instance, an elderly person fell in the street due to, quote, the fear and, quote, the shock, and couldn't get up. And then he attributes all of that to the neighbor who told him that. And it's like, if the neighbor told you that, why do you have it broken up into like a word salad of all these different scare quotes? But I mean, that's just the writing that we've come to expect from the television set.
I just it's not funny if that happened, I guess. But I also, it's really funny to me to think of this elderly person falling down and getting, quote, the fear, like Dr. Gonzo, played by Guillermo del Toro in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Like, I gotta get out of here. I think I'm getting the fear.
Exactly. Imagine if and this I think this is the note we should end on. But just imagine if like this is a totally faithful representation of what happened, and this person fell down twice, and each time they said, "Oh, the fear!
Oh, the shock!
Oh, the shock!" I mean, it's not funny when an elderly person falls down, but that I hate to say it, would be a little funny. Oh, the fear! It seems like that person was all right, but that's anyway. So this is a fun episode. This is a fun little break from talking about super serious, heady things. I now have to get back to writing about housing policy and affordable and what that means, which is the worst, because that's the headiest and hardest to explain, I think, of anything in local government. So, Chris, this has been fun. Another great little hang on the porch, and we'll be back again next week with more.
On that note, maybe, probably, but not definitely, because I will be out of town for 4 days. Partying my face off at a bluegrass festival. Definitely not back in Iran. Persian country.
Persian country.
That's definitely not Iran.
That's part of the axis of resistance.
That's
how they told us to describe it.
Exactly. It's part of the axis of resistance. It could be any of those places.
Yeah.
I will not be partying with them, the Houthis, or any of that. I'm going to try to take some field recordings when I'm out at this thing. So if we do miss you, I'll try to make it worth your while. I go to this thing with like 100 and 30 something of my weirdest friends and their families who've been going for over 50 years.
Sounds pretty sick.
And so, yeah, it's like now a 3 or 4 generation group of folks, and it's a lot of fun, and it means a lot to all of us. And I'm going to try to I'm not going to get them drunk. They're going to get themselves drunk. But I'm going to try to get them to talk a little bit about what it all means, and maybe get some audio for that.
Yeah. And remember, no, never mind. That was a stupid joke. But yeah, that sounds super cool, man. I can't wait to hear about it. It would be nice to have a little audio piece from the freaking weirdo festival, the bluegrass 4-generation Gonzo festival.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Well, we'll see everyone next week. Thanks for listening, and share this with a history buff in your life that might appreciate it.
Yeah. Enjoy your 4th.
Enjoy your 4th, everyone. Be safe, and remember, the dynamite. You don't know. You don't know. If you have dynamite, if you're lighting it off, the cops come to your door, you say, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
That's all we do is drink all day. 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 That's all we do is drink all day.